Hello and welcome to Shift Asia in-depth series with Malaysian International Food and Beverage Trade Fair, MIFB 2024, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of sustainable food and beverage innovations across Asia. My name is Frida Liu, and as we build up to the Malaysian International Food and Beverage Trade Fair happening in Kuala Lumpur from July 17 to 19 at KLCC. So whether you're a business owner, a food enthusiast, or simply curious about the future of food, join us as we uncover the taste of tomorrow today. So today, we're honored to have with us John Burke, General Manager, Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre, KLCC, and Hellen Woon, MIFB 2024 Event Director, to share the innovative ways they're practicing sustainability. So hello, I won't say in case whoever's watching this at whatever time, but welcome. It's really exciting with this event happening soon. Now, before we go into the questions, right, I can see that MIFB has the largest and oldest food and beverage trade fair and has embarked on a journey of sustainability. Hellen, can you probably just share with us the theme and vision you had when you started, which I understand is a continuity of the effort from last year?
Yes, thank you for having me, Frida. Yes, indeed, MIB has been on a very exciting journey on this sustainability topic, and it's something that we are deeply passionate about. When we first introduced the sustainability team last year, our vision is not to just follow the trend, but to make real changes and impact in the F&B industry. We wanted to be seen as someone that is driving that, leading that towards that sustainability journey. This year, our team is elevating F&B business, empowering innovations and enabling transformation. It is our commitment to elevate the F&B industry to the large-scale event like MIB. We believe that by empowering innovations, we can drive the transformations needed to secure the future of food. As MIB continues to grow, so do our partnership with KL Convention Centre as well.
Right. So it's very interesting, and it's not a trend. It is the way forward as well,
correct.
right? John, for convention centres, most of the waste will go to uneaten waste, booth materials, printed signage, and general waste. Is there anything else that happens behind the scenes to reduce waste that KLCC is doing that the general public won't know because it's all behind the scenes?
Oh, there's a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. So if you imagine what you do at home, you do your own recycling. So imagine it on an industrial scale, a larger scale.
Right.
So we work with our precinct partners. So there's 3 hotels.
Right.
So there's the Mandarin Oriental, Traders Hotel, Impiana Hotel, plus Surya Shopping Mall and the park itself.
Right.
So together we try and collaborate and make sure that we're delivering a sustainable precinct. So behind the scenes, we're working together on food waste, general waste, recycling programs, and other activities to try and increase or reduce the impact we have on the environment.
Right.
Now, working with organisations such as Hellen's with MIFB, what we're trying to do is collaborate more so we can deliver more sustainable practices. Because events are quite wasteful. So what we're trying to do is make sure we reduce the food waste, as you mentioned, the carpets and construction materials.
Right.
How do we provide more segregation opportunities? How do we work with both our partners in the precinct and the event organisers to divert more of that waste away from landfill?
Right.
Now, as well as the event side, there's secondary items such as hazardous materials, light bulbs, chemicals, cooking aisle, and cooking aisle will be one we're working with Hellen on how we recycle that into soaps or other materials.
Okay. And so interesting, I didn't realize that you actually, it's not just the convention centre, but the hotels around and the park. And I guess that's where you get economies of scale as well, right? Yeah. Hellen, why is working close with KLCC to drive sustainability? And was this done before?
We actually did it last year. So last year, we started something small, just looking into food waste. We know even like MIB, with this kind of scale, 18,000 square meter this year. Last year, we were like 10,000 square meter.
Wow, okay.
So it's like this kind of event generates a lot of food waste, whether it's from food tasting events or the constructions itself and all.
Yeah.
So last year, we started with something really, really small, just looking at the food waste. And I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, we actually turned 33 kilos of food waste into 10 kilos of composted fertilizer materials. I don't know what you call that.
Okay.
Soil
Food compost.
That we then give it out to all these urban farmers, that run by small farmers. Yeah. So that's how we work closely with KL Convention Center on this. This is not something that we can do as an event organizer on our own. So we have to work very closely with the venue, and they have all the capability to do that. This year, we are doing on something much more bigger. So we realized that, exhibition is not just the food waste, it's also about construction waste, which John just mentioned just now. So what we do, following through what we had last year, where we actually gave out all the hanging banners and all to BGBG initiative after the event, where they can then upcycle it into pouches or some bags, that you can sell, to help them, to be self-sustained.
Right.
We are also looking into educating our exhibitors, contractors, during the setup event that time, where they can actually clearly, dispose all their waste into the correct bins. That KLCC has helped us to make us much more easier during the event itself to place it all around the hall, where they can actually properly dispose those items instead of doing it 3 days after the events or 5 days after the events. It makes it very not practical at all, because people tend to mix recyclable and non-recyclable items into same bin. So these are some of the educations that we will put out, to our exhibitors as well as to our visitors as well.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes we even have all these bins, but people still don't, right? Okay. How many attendees are we expecting to attend this year?
We are expecting 20,000 trade visitors with over 500 exhibitors from over 80 countries this year.
It's the little United Nations there. Okay. There will be a sustainability zone within the MIFB show area. So Helen, what's the idea behind the zone, and who will be joining this year for that area?
This is not something new in MIB. We had done that last year together with KL Convention Center as well. We were very grateful that we get to showcase this together with John. With your AI-powered system that help to capture the waste as soon as the moment that you actually throw it into the bin, the system will be able to capture what sort of waste that being thrown into the bin and weight it and
I'll get him to explain himself.
John will be the right person to talk about this. So that was what we were doing at the AI, the Sustainability Journey showcase, where we showcase all these systems to tell them that these are what can be done back, what is being done at the back of house. On top of this year, we also put up some of the booth showcase with some of the brand that has been showcased on Shift Asia here together. People like Prefer Coffee, avocado brand, the avocado brand, and then Avosum. So and also Humane Society International, they're going to be put up their showcase onto that MIB Sustainability Journey place. This is for them to talk about some of the initiatives, how they work on food waste, how they work on much more humane ways in farmings and all. So these are the things that are going to be showcased on the.
And it's interesting because I was involved last year as well, right? And it was just interesting to see how it's just grown as well. So yes, I want to talk about the food waste, or the AI food waste machine. What's the process of this, and how's that, and what will happen to the food waste? And I guess you were saying a little bit of the farmers, but what actually happens with this?
Okay. There's a few things on food waste. So if you mention food waste, there's several stages where it can be produced. So in the kitchen, you have the leftovers, the trimmings, the peelings. Then when you go into the service side, there is what's left on the plate waste. So people leave some things.
Cooked food.
And then you have what we would term overproduction or balance. So if you are preparing food for, say, 500 people, but only 400 turn up, you've got balanced food. So what do we do with that? There's 3 different types of food. Now, 2 parts of that, so the balance of a plate and the food production waste will go into food waste recycling bins, which will eventually go into the composting machine. And what we can't fit in the composter will go into another cycle we have, which will go out for fish food processing. So we process it into fish food for fish farms. But the AI machine specifically, what we use those for, and this was something we were using before people started talking about ChatGPT and AI got all trendy, is it's a camera, as Helen said, that sits over the waste bins. It can detect what kind of food type is put into the bin. And then against our records on production, we can then see Are we throwing too much rice away? Are we throwing noodle away? Is it meat? And then our chefs can use that to help redevelop the menu to maybe people aren't liking that taste, or we produce too much of this type of food, or people prefer this type of food. So what goes in the bin? How can we get better at producing the menus to generate less waste?
What have we discovered? I'm just curious. Do you know what have they discovered? What is being thrown away and what we need to reduce? Do you?
We throw an awful lot of pastries away and an awful lot of rice.
Okay.
Now, the rice side, you could say that's cheap, but it's a restricted commodity. So it's something we have to be careful of. And all of this is adding cost as well. I have to buy the food. I have to have chefs to produce it. I have utilities to cook it and service staff to serve it. So if I am preparing less food, overall we are saving money and producing less waste at the same time.
Right, and that is the meaning of sustainability, just using what we really need, right? And it also makes business sense. What happens to the excess food, the ones that don't get eaten?
Okay, where it's safe to do so, we work with a partner organization called Food Aid Foundation. And we donate that food to them. They take it away and they will distribute that to people they have in their collective organization for those in need. So wherever possible, we will try and either donate it if it's usable, or look at how we reduce genuine food waste.
Right, because I know there are other concerns with that as well, you know, where you work with Food Aid Organization. Okay, so there's a special bin for used cooking oil. So what do you guys do with that?
That goes out for processing into soaps and other secondary products that use refined cooking oil.
Okay, so there's an organization that comes in and collect them as well. You know, and KLCC has joined Constella's Sing Expo to pledge to cage-free eggs as part of your efforts towards greater social responsibility. And for people who don't understand the significance of cage-free eggs, can you explain this a little bit, Helen, and why did you all decide to do this?
Okay, there are a survey that shows that 84% of the Malaysians believe that the welfare of farm animals is very important, with most preferring to buy cage-free eggs. So it's like a topic, it's like sustainability topic right now that's ongoing and all people have been talking about it. You know, plus the fact that Malaysia as a major egg producer in the region itself is in a great position to lead the way in meeting this growing demand of people start thinking about, you know, a much more humane ways for all these farm animals. So the commitment from KLCC and Constella to cage-free eggs is something it's like a big deal because we as Constella, we actually run Singapore Expo in Singapore. John's run KL Convention Center, and on a daily basis, we actually do a lot of catering, you know, like for meeting packages or conference solutions and stuff like that. So what does it mean for these farm animals is that it will be a better living conditions for these, you know, millions of hens.
So these hens do not live in cages?
Yeah. Okay. So they run freely. They got better, I would say, better feelings or better, you know, emotions when they produce the eggs. Yeah. So it's setting a new standard in the poultry industry as well. So on top of it, this kind of system actually often have a lower environmental impact, where they are better managing their waste, you know, and it's actually tied into our sustainability goals. Having this pledge highlighted in MIFB it will help to inspire other companies to look into this. We are not, you know, we will start looking into this probably. I doubt that we can actually start procuring this soon because there will be a lot of study that needed to be done and stuff like that. And in fact, in Malaysia, there's not many farms that can support.
So it's a case of demand and supply. If there's a demand, there isn't enough supply yet.
Yeah, but at MIB, I think, you know, with KLCC, we will be able to inspire some other companies or some other hotels, partners, and some other convention center to look into this altogether as well. Yeah.
Okay. And is cage-free egg something that the center is looking for? And do you foresee any challenges to execute this?
The sourcing of all of our food products is something that we look at all the time. To make sure that we are sourcing both locally as much as we can. So over 70% of our food already is coming from local within Malaysia. Cage-free is also on the roadmap for us, and later organic and free range. But cage-free first. We've introduced it into our cafes already, and we'll look at how we can expand that throughout the building for all of our catering services once we can ensure we have a guaranteed supply, because as you know, we have over 1 million people come through the building every year. We get through a lot of eggs, so we have to make sure we have a guaranteed supply of those, and we'll be working with the supplier to ensure that happens over time.
Right. So there is the will, but whether there is the supply, and then of course it'll be a while before we.
Everybody wants the same thing, so it's all coming together.
Yes, yes, and it'll be a while before we even get to free range, right? All right. So KLCC is also encouraging recycling with a clean machine for plastic bottles and aluminium cans, right? There's also a new recycling area for light bulbs.
Yep, and shoes.
Shoes, electronics, right? Okay, shoes. After running around the park, I guess. But what happens to these collected goods?
We work with a number of partners, and it's almost a different partner per recycled material type, because they're very specific. On the shoes, for example, we work with a local organisation that takes they extract the rubber components from the shoes if they are not able to be reused and donated, and they will turn the rubber components of those shoes into children's playmats.
Oh, now I know what to do. I'll drop by and definitely dump those shoes there. Okay, so there's a lot beyond that, right? I mean, you're talking about shoes and lighting and bulbs and what have you as well. What about the booth materials and printed signage? Is that where you work with BGBG or?
Initially, it's trying to encourage the booth companies to use materials that are both sustainable but also reusable. Some of these companies are exhibiting at multiple events.
Right.
Are they having booths that can be reused at other events?
Okay.
Are they having materials that can be broken down and used for other purposes?
Right.
Are we looking at how we set up the event where we use less carpet or no carpet in the aisles? And I have to do some work as the building manager to make sure that the building still looks presentable if we're not using carpet.
Yes.
So is the floors presentable?
Right.
Does it make the exhibition look exciting and fresh and meets Helen's expectation?
Yeah, and it's that fine line, right? I mean, making it aesthetically pleasing, but also thinking what is the extended use of this so that we're all sustainable.
It's also about making sure we provide the facilities for the companies that are coming in.
Right.
I think there was a tendency in the past, we provide a big skip at the back of the building, and when they come in or they move out, all the materials they don't need, it just goes all in skip, and then they leave.
Right.
What we need to look at and what we're trying to progress through is understanding what materials are being brought into the building and what services do I need to provide as the building manager to provide those recycling facilities, provide those segregation facilities. So working with Hellen and MIFB and other events, what do we need to provide for the exhibitors to make sure that they have the services available so they can segregate? Many of them want to, but the services haven't traditionally been there. And it's how we provide that to them.
Right. Hellen, anything else to add with MIFB? Come one, come all?
Just come and visit MIB during 17 to 19 July.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Hellen. And of course, you've been watching the Shift Asia in-depth series with MIFB 2024. Join us at KLCC to see these sustainable practices in action, discover how you can be a part of this industry transformation.